Richy Rich, what's up, man?
What's up, Heknows? How's it going?
It's going good. What's good with you?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. Everything's going swell.
Okay, good. Yeah, man. So today we're gonna start off and kick off the show talking about fantasy football this week for week 6. We got Thursday night football coming up, the Commanders versus the Bears game. So I want your take on Thursday night game after you get your salutations out the way on who's gonna be the guys to look out for fantasy football wise for tomorrow's game, Thursday night game.
Well, I mean, it's the Thursday night matchup is between the Washington Commanders and the Chicago Bears. That's going to be an ugly game because both these teams, have been looking kind of terrible so far heading into Week 6. Both these Washington Commanders are a better offense. They're able to put up more points, but they have a terrible defense. They allow teams to put up a lot of yards, points. Chicago Bears, uh, they're just a terrible team altogether. They can't score. Their defense is not that good as well. Guys who've had expectations. They play Carson Wentz and Justin Fields. These are two quarterbacks that people expected better things from heading into the season. But Justin Carson Wentz, he was a quarterback that was on the Indianapolis Colts last year. He started the season off well, but then towards the end of the season, he started to his play started to take a nosedive, and this is the reason why they didn't want him anymore. So he went to the Washington Commanders. And Justin Field, this is his second year. This is his sophomore year. People are expecting a better play from him, but he's still having those early NFL quarterback struggles. He's still trying to transition and learn the game of football, but he doesn't really have much around him uh, to really, thrive in the NFL. And it seems like his coaches are not really putting a lot of confidence in him. But you just got to give this guy time. But the players, these are the two quarterbacks to look at after, because I expect Justin Fields to play a whole lot better. Last week, he threw the ball much better. The weeks prior before that, he wasn't throwing the ball well. He was barely cracking 150 yards passing, but he finally cracked 200 yards, and he threw for one touchdown. And he did well on the ground as well. He ran, I believe he ran for like 40 something yards. So playing against this Washington Commanders defense, which is terrible, I expect Justin Fields to play a whole lot better. This is someone to pay attention to have on your radar. If you are basically playing NFL fantasy and you're not looking for a expensive quarterback, because the way it is in NFL fantasy, the top quarterbacks are expensive. All the top players are expensive. So you got to budget it out carefully. You got to make sure you could, because if you're trying to go after all the top players, you're going to have to level off somewhere, whether it's a defense that you pick, or when it comes to your tight ends, those guys can pick up points for you. You might have to go for the cheapest player. So it's all about leveling it out the right way. If you're someone that likes to go after positions like the running back position, you want to make sure you get a top running back, top receiver, or top defense, and you just want to go for a quarterback that week that can just get you some points. Justin Fields will be a quarterback to pay attention to, because on that defense, the Washington Commanders defense, he should throw a lot better, and he's a dual threat quarterback. So he's going to run for some yards. He might even throw for a touchdown and pass for a touchdown. So he's someone to pay attention to. Also, Carson Wentz, this should be a better game for him, because this Chicago's Bears defense is not the Bears defense that it used to be, where they had Khalil Mack on that team. He's now on the Los Angeles Chargers. That guy used to be a menace. He was like the dude from the Los Angeles Rams. Those two are like the best defensive ends in the game, defensive tackles in the game. They raise havoc, but they don't have this guy anymore. Their defense is still okay, but they're not as good as they used to be. So I could see Carson Wentz playing a whole lot better in this game as well. So those are two guys to pay attention to. Also, the running backs, I would look at David Montgomery. He's the starting running back on the Chicago Bears. Washington Commanders, they're terrible. They don't they allow teams to run a lot of yards on them. A lot of teams week by week, teams average a lot of rushing yards on them. This guy, he hasn't been running the ball well, but he's had a game here and there where he's ran the ball pretty decent. But the guy who runs the ball the best for them on that team is the second string back.
So
His name is
do you feel hold that thought with the second string back? Do you feel that Justin Fields gets another 200 plus yards game with him playing against a garbage defense?
Oh, definitely. I could see him throwing for 200 plus yards in this game. He threw for 200 yards against the Vikings and a touchdown. Vikings they have their defense is not that good, but it's better than the Commanders. So he should play a whole lot better. Commanders give up a lot of passing yards and rushing yards. This is a game where he could really go out there and build his confidence because Commanders can't really stop anybody.
Okay. Okay.
So with Justin Fields, I take it this is what he showed up in the NFL in 2021. I take it that he's 23 years old. He's from Georgia. I'm gonna pass the mic to Ross. How do you feel Justin Fields' development is gonna be fantasy football wise for tomorrow's game, and also what is the forecast you see for this kid moving forward? Do you think things are gonna turn around and be bright for him because the Chicago Bears was 2-1, and then they became 2-3, and although I wouldn't put the blame on him, the whole team in of itself has had their issues defensively. It seems like they're kind of asking the question about Justin Fields. It's kind of that double standards that we talked about the other day. Can Justin Fields lead this team? Why are they basically putting this kid on the clock so fast? And he's young and he hasn't really fully developed yet. I wonder if Justin Fields looked a different way, or he was a different kind of quarterback if he was going to get that same attention. So I want your take on it, Ross. Like, how do you feel about Justin Fields overall, and how do you feel he's going to play out tomorrow? What is going to be like, the points that you're going to give him from a fantasy perspective for tomorrow?
I feel Justin Fields has all the physical capabilities, and he has all the potential to do just as good or better than anybody else who was drafted in his class if he gets the proper treatment and they actually invest in him. A lot of times with these young quarterbacks, they're drafting them and they're just throwing them in the fire without the proper orientation too, and without the proper weapons to succeed. Justin Fields doesn't. If you really care about your, because let's be honest, these are commodities and products. These players, they're treated like products. If you care about your product, then you'll want to put in the best position to succeed, right? So that means if you know you don't have the offensive line, whether you want to start building on that, if you know you don't have weapons, will you try to get a weapon? A quarterback, no matter how good he is, his limitation is the weapons. And time again, we have seen, um, let's say, melanated quarterbacks not get the weapons. Rarely do you see a black quarterback that has the running game, the passing game, and the defense and the offensive line. Who's that? Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the only black quarterback right now that's getting treated like how you supposed to get treated. They supposed to build around you.
For the dumb, deaf, and slow, what is melanated quarterback? When you say melanated, what does that mean?
Means black. They should know that word. Means black. Has melanin. Hello?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm tracking. Um, so basically, what you're saying from Thursday night football, how do you guys see the game? Like, what's the score for the game? Like, how do you guys see the game playing out? Who do you see as the victor, the Bears or the Commanders? And I guess that's both a question for you guys. And I guess Ross with you, because Richard mentioned and he harped on Carson Wentz. How do you see him playing out in tomorrow's game as well, too?
Carson Wentz is a marginal quarterback, so he could either fuck a game up, or he could, or he could game manage you a game here and there. You know what I'm saying? The thing about the Bears is their defense is going to show up, but their offensive play calling is suspect, and they don't really have any weapons. Since it's going to be at home for the Washington Commanders, I'm gonna have the Washington Commanders take that game because one thing and one thing only. They got a pass rush that I'm not sure the Bears are gonna be able to stop. Meaning they're gonna this dude already don't have weapons. He's gonna hit the canvas. He's gonna hit the ground all day long. So I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to withstand all that and still win with his lack of weapons. So I got Washington by 3.
What's going to be your quarterback ranking for both Carson Wentz and Justin Fields? That's a question for both of you guys for this week.
Ranking amongst who? Amongst everybody else? Oh, which one you saying? Who gonna be better between those two?
Yeah, who's going to be better between those two? And how do you rank them for this week for football in general?
I haven't ranked them for this week yet. But who's gonna be? I believe because Carson Wentz is gonna be under the least pressure. He should probably be better. But both of them are gonna have below standard QBRs and below standard passer rating. So neither one of them are gonna wow. I got both of them under a passer rating of 100. Neither one of them will get higher than 100 passer rating.
What about you, Richie Rich?
I agree with Tom Ross. I don't think both quarterbacks. I think their numbers are going to be better, but since the Commanders, they don't really have a running game, and they're a team that turns over the football a lot. I remember hearing about that on NFL Live, watching it a few days ago. Their team, they and during these through week 5, they're one of the teams in the NFL that's turned over the football the most. So the Bears, their defense is not how it used to be, but they're a team that can still force turnovers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so their defense, they can force turnovers. So they might have an edge at this game since they're playing at home. Their team, they can run the ball better than the Commanders. That's what it's going to come down to. Who can control the time of possession, and who can limit turnovers? The Commanders have already shown they're a team that can turn over the ball. They don't have a running game, so it puts a lot of pressure on Carson Wentz to have to make plays with his arm when he's just like as his Tom Ross mentioned, he's a marginal quarterback. He's not like a Tom Brady where he could sit in the pocket and carve you up here and there. He's not that type of quarterback. He's a quarterback. You're just waiting for a mistake to happen. He might start the game off on fire, but a mistake could come at any given time with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the Bears, it won't be a surprise. I won't be surprised to see the Bears win. They're at home. they have the better running game, and they have the better defense. But both offenses are terrible, so it might be an ugly game to where I think these guys are gonna play better because both defenses are not that great. Washington Commanders' defense is worse, so that actually helps out the Bears. I think Justin Fields has the edge at winning this game, at doing a better job than Carson Wentz in this game because of those factors.
Okay. So far from a fantasy football perspective, for through week 5, they have Josh Allen as the highest scoring guy points wise through all 5 weeks. Do you guys agree with that from the quarterback position?
Yeah, because other guys had to play better defenses, so they haven't been able to put up the same amount of points. I think he's number one for the quarterback. Yeah, he's number one for the
What
quarterback.
about you, Richie Rich?
Yeah, he deserves it so far. He's playing like the best right now. The numbers that he's putting up, the teams that they faced already, you know, especially the last 2 weeks. You know, they were able to knock off the Steelers, and then they beat the Ravens last week, and he was able to. He's not. He's. I wouldn't put him on Lamar Jackson's level, but he's that quarterback that can kill you with his arm and his feet. You
Right.
know, not to Lamar Jackson's degree, but that dude could kill you, man. If you allow him to have those opportunities, and he's hard to bring down, man. He's like a Mack truck because he's like 6'5", 6'6", man, and he weighs like 250.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a more mobile Ben Roethlisberger. You remember when Ben Roethlisberger in his younger days used to run out of the pocket, and
Yep.
he's quicker than Ben. That's who he reminds me of.
So Ben with more mobility, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Now, what about Patrick Mahomes? They got him ranked as number 2. Do you guys think that's a fair assessment so far for the 5 weeks?
I mean, yeah, because fantasy football doesn't go off. It's not narrative. It's actually what you're doing. So it's nothing to disagree with. As far as production, it's nothing to disagree with. Now, as far as who they've been playing against or win loss matters, I would take. I get my top five with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady. Why? Because the rest of the guys got losing records. Justin Herbert is in the top five. Justin Herbert, he's a loser. He loses games. His stats are empty. Um, Kyler Murray's stats are empty as well. He loses a lot of games. Joe Burrow has been losing as well. But Tom Brady has a better record than him, so I brought him up. But yeah, as far as the production, there's nothing to argue with. It's all numbers.
And that's why I was asking the question, because even though it was all numbers, is there one or two people that you disagree with? And you brought that point up. You mentioned that your top 5 is a little different than what the top 5 is based on the numbers. What about you, Richie Rich? Is there anyone that you feel shouldn't be on the top 5 based on the list, or do you agree with the top 5 list altogether?
Yeah, I agree so far with the top 5 list because it's about the numbers that you're putting up. You know, just like Tom Ross says, what you're doing at the moment. You know, the numbers that you're putting up, how efficient you are. If you're racking up the points, that's what it's about. And these guys so far, that's what they've been doing. They've been putting up the points. That's why they're the most sought after quarterback so far in fantasy.
So let's switch
Mm-hmm.
gears. Who's the sleeper that you guys feel for week 6, player wise, at quarterback position, running back position, wide receiver position? It's a question for both you guys. Who are your sleepers this week?
I I'll go first. then let him say his. Then go back and forth as you go down as you transition down the categories. But number one, I got someone who everyone thinks that should get stopped. I think I got Lamar Jackson against New York. The people think it's the other way around, just because the defensive coordinator with the New York, but Lamar, all the defensive coordinator does over there is blitz, and Lamar Jackson's been the best. He's been the best as far against blitz. Against blitz, Lamar Jackson has almost a perfect passer rating. The person passer rate is 158.3. Lamar Jackson has a 144.6 against the blitz. So I think he can have a huge game against the Giants come Sunday. So that's my pick for QB.
What about you, Richy Rich?
My pick for QB is someone that people wouldn't be paying attention to. You know, he's a dude that he's been what you call as a journeyman. You know, it's Geno Smith, man. That dude has been balling. He's been low key balling in these games for the Seattle Seahawks. You know, at first people were like, who's gonna be the guy to replace Russell Wilson? They were like, it's gonna be Geno Smith, you know, and that guy's been a career backup until this point. But this guy, you could tell he's really been taking everything in. He knows the system, man, and it's been working out. The numbers he's been putting up the last 3 weeks, you can't deny that guy. The guy looks like he's comfortable out there. He's been easily putting up close to 300 yards, throwing for 3 touchdowns, running for a touchdown. He's someone that people aren't paying attention to. They still aren't paying attention to, but they're gonna start paying attention to. And now he plays the Cardinals. The Cardinals, the Cardinals, they have a good running defense, but their passing defense, you can throw on them. So with the receivers that this dude has in Metcalf and Lockett, he has some legit receivers on that Seahawks team. He's gonna be able to put up yards and he's gonna be able to put up scores. So he's a quarterback I'm eyeing for this Sunday.
Okay, what about the running back position? Who you guys got as sleepers?
For running back, my sleeper is gonna be Christian McCaffrey at the Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams do not do good against the running back position. They do not do. They haven't been doing good this year, I should say. I expect Christian McCaffrey to have a good game against them. He's gonna be over. He's gonna be used a lot to beat the pass rushing attack from the Rams to beat what's his name, Aaron Donald. And he's gonna be a lot of screens, a lot of quick passes, a lot of wheel routes out of the running back position. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to get used a lot. I believe Saquon Barkley is going to get used a lot as well. But Saquon Barkley is going to be playing against a better defense. So I think Christian McCaffrey is going to turn out. He's going to turn out.
What about you, Richy Rich?
My sleeper running back is Ramondre Stevenson, man, on the Patriots. The Patriots, man, they're a tough team. You would think that this team would just fall off the face of the earth. But even though, Belichick, got Brady, you know what I'm saying? He's still able to keep that team relevant, man, because he always focuses on the basics, the running game and the defense. And they got 2 solid running backs on that team. One of them is Ramondre Stevenson. They play the Browns this week, man. The Browns, they gave up 173 yards to Austin Eckler. That's that running back that Justin Herbert like throwing to. He like to throw it to that dude out the backfield, and he's one of those running backs. He's a dual threat. He catches out the backfield and he runs. Ramondre Stevenson, man, he's a solid running back. That dude should be able to have a good game. He should be able to have a solid game against the Browns. Browns run defense ain't that good.
What about tight end position? Who are your sleepers at the tight end position?
This is tough.
I mean,
I my mind is split in between somebody everybody knows and somebody most people don't know. Everyone knows Mark Andrews. Most people don't know David Njoku. And even though I think David Njoku for Cleveland is going to have a good game, I just don't think it's going to be as good of a game as Mark Andrews is going to have against the Giants. Um, I'm gonna go with Mark Andrews with the Giants. I haven't seen enough for them to say that they're gonna have something for Mark Andrews. I just don't. I haven't seen enough of them. They're not like a. They're not like the Jets or the Dolphins who could cover all over the field. I haven't seen them stop with a tight end of this magnitude all year. So I don't think it's gonna start this Sunday.
What about you, Richy Rich?
well, this is a tight end that's kind of, people. He used to be one of the tight ends, sought after tight ends that a few years ago when he was on the Eagles. It's Zach Ertz. Now he's on the Cardinals. They play the Cardinals. The Cardinals they play the Seahawks this week, and the Seahawks they although they score a lot of points, they give up a lot of points
A lot of
as
points.
well. They can't really stop anybody. They give up a lot of passing yards. They give up a lot of running yards. DeAndre Hopkins, uh, as you know, that's the best receiver on that Arizona Cardinals team. That's Kyler Murray's favorite target. But I believe he was suspended for the first 7 weeks because he took some kind of substance. Some type of banned substance. They say who knows what it was, but Kyler Murray's gonna have to find other targets out there before this dude comes. And he likes to throw Ertz the ball a lot. Since they're playing a bad pass defense like the Seahawks, I believe Ertz can get you some quality points.
It's crazy he picked that game because I got Tyler Lockett for the other side. I got Tyler Lockett for the other side, man. I believe Tyler Lockett he's gonna consistently beat Arizona's pass defense, and Geno's gonna find him down the field. Um, I don't think he's gonna put up any crazy numbers, but I think he's gonna put up more numbers than he's projected to put up, and so I'm in around the 20-point range, not to the 30-point range, but the 20-point range. He's projected to put up 14.5, but I think he's gonna put up like 19, 20 this game.
Let's switch
Yeah.
gears and let's talk about the 8 disappointing signings in the offseason. And I want you guys to start off with Joe Burrow. Why do you guys feel that Joe Burrow was a disappointing signing from the offseason? And do you
Joe
feel
Burrow?
that
Joe,
Joe
yeah,
Joe,
Joe
Burrow?
Burrow.
Joe Burrow's
Joe was drafted.
he's doing his first contract.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
drafted by the Bengals.
yeah. Joe Burrow's still on his first contract, but so far for me, the disappointing signings, you are what you put on the field, even if the circumstances are crazy. So uh, Russell Wilson, he got bad circumstances, but he is what he's put on the field. That's the rule. You play football, even though you might have a horrible coach. Whatever you put on film, that's you. So Russell Wilson he's having a bad re-up year. Um,
What about Leo Collins? What do you
Kyler
guys
Murray,
feel about Leo Collins?
I don't know. He ain't been on my radar. Kyler Murray's having a bad year. Aaron Rodgers having a bad year for the Science. That's 3 right there for sure.
Okay. And what about Chandler Jones? John Jones' brother from the MMA.
Yeah. I don't expect much from him to say he's having a bad year. You know what I'm saying? Like he's having a typical year so far.
He was expected. A lot of people were excited with him joining Matt's Crosby and the Raiders defense, but the Union it hasn't been looking good for the last 5 weeks. Do you guys anticipate for it to pick up, or is it just going to continue to be the status quo of what it is?
Hopefully it picks up, but if it doesn't, I mean, Chandler Jones, he's not one of those guys you expect that's going to be making like Super Bowl level contributions to the team. So even if it does pick up, it's not going to make his profile any bigger. And now he's really not that guy just yet. But these guys, they're supposed to be making noise. Russell Wilson's supposed to be making noise. Kyler Murray and Aaron Rodgers, these guys are supposed to be making noise. So far, their signings have not lived up. They have not fit the bill. They haven't lived up.
Okay, so what about Baker? What about Baker Mayfield?
Oh, that's
How do you
one of
guys
the
feel
worst by
about him?
far. That's one of the worst by far.
Oh yeah, he's one of the worst by far. But like I said, I expected. I never thought Baker Mayfield was nice. To me, he's playing exactly how he's supposed to play, like trash. You know what I'm saying? Like I never seen him. He it's not like if Baker Mayfield at his best would take you to a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Best you gonna get out of him is the first round slap around. You know what I'm saying? That's the best you gonna get out of him. Now, Aaron Rodgers at his best could get you to at least an NFC championship. These other guys been in the Russell Wilson been in the Super Bowl. I believe Kyler Murray at his best could at least get you to the first. It'll get you to the first round and have you threatening to win. But Baker Mayfield at his best could get you a winning record, and if he on fire, could get you to the playoffs. He's not really nice like that.
Here's the issue with Baker Mayfield, though, man. He's one of those guys. Remember who he had taking the ball behind him. He had Nick Chubb. He had that dude is one of the best running backs in the game. You know, he took a lot of pressure off Baker. If you can't get the ball to Odell Beckham Jr., you can't get the ball to Jarvis Landry. You got issues, man. He's one of those quarterbacks that can't make those necessary throws that you need those quarterbacks to make. You know, you could dump it off here and there and expect the receivers to get those yak yards for you. But in some instances, man, you need that your quarterback got to be able to make plays with his arm. He's not one of those quarterbacks that can do that.
Got to be able to make them.
So what about Allen Robinson with the Los Angeles Rams? How disappointing has he been?
It's disappointing, but I know what's going on, man. If you paid attention to those Los Angeles, I keep thinking about them as St. Louis Rams because that's what I got in my head. You know, all the time the Niners used to dominate them. They still dominate them, but that man is heavily throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp. He's not paying attention to Allen Robinson. Sitting here and watch, especially that game that they played the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. This man, all he saw was Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. He wasn't even looking Allen Robinson's way. I'm like, he threw the ball to Cooper Kupp's way 20. Cooper Kupp got the ball thrown his way 25 times. I believe he caught only 18 passes. Like, he just phased Allen Robinson out of the game, man. Like, that dude was a talented receiver.
That's how he always. Because the thing is, what people don't realize is it's not personal. It's not purposely being done. This dude never was a good quarterback like that. He don't work with progressions. He comes out the plate. He stares down his number one target. If his number one target ain't open, he dumps it down to the running back. Man, that's all he do. If he pass you the ball, it's because you wide the fuck open, screaming across his face. He's not gonna risk making a tough pass to a lesser target. It's always gonna be Cooper Kupp. That's how he was in Detroit. He just force fed Megatron the whole time, throwing him into double coverage, getting him hurt and shit. Because he wouldn't pass the ball to nobody else. He's not nice like that.
So basically, the reason why I mentioned Allen Robinson, I think this is key in of itself, is because he was the guy that the Los Angeles Rams was trying to do Odell Beckham dirty with him having the ACL injury. You know, Odell Beckham, the Los Angeles Rams was the team that he was bouncing back with, but they were trying to bank on Allen Robinson to be his replacement. So now, knowing what you guys know, Do you guys feel that these guys both can coexist together? They shouldn't have to try to make Allen Robinson become the replacement of Odell Beckham. They should try to keep both guys and then wait until Odell Beckham is healthy and ready to come back and play.
Right.
Or do you guys feel that that's the route that they're going to take as a way to kind of phase Odell Beckham out?
That coach is preparing like Odell, like he wants Odell to come back to the team because they were saying that they saved his locker room for him, and they're gonna try to convince him to come back because they saw that he's another receiver that Matthew Stafford can get the ball to and he can make plays. So it's not working well with Allen Robinson so far, but I think it's like a transitional period, man, where the coach gotta get on Stafford to look at this dude because this dude, he's a solid playmaker, man. I remember when he was on the Bears, Justin Fields, he was with Justin Fields last year, and he helped Justin Fields out a lot last season. But the problem with Justin Fields was he was getting hurt. He was still learning the game. The physicality from college to the pros is far different. You learn that off rip right away. Because you saw what happened to Joe Burrow when he got into the league. You have a bad line as a young quarterback, man, that you can get hurt. There's a possibility you're gonna get knocked out, and that's what was happening to Justin Fields. But at least he had a veteran receiver like Allen Robinson who was able to make some plays for him when he was in the game. But now that guy's not there anymore, it's harder for Justin Fields. But Matthew Stafford gotta look for this guy. This guy could make Stafford's job a whole lot easier because you just look at the last 2 weeks, they got dominated by the Cowboys, and then the week before, you saw what the 49ers did to him.
You guys said that because now I'm segueing into the next one. Great breakdown from both of you guys. Now let's jump into Matt Ryan. I'm sure you guys have a lot to say. How disappointed has he been since the trade in exchange for a 2022 third round pick? Do you guys feel that they need to look elsewhere with this guy and phase out Matt Ryan and he just become a bona fide bench player? How do you guys feel?
The crazy thing about Matt Ryan is, even though I feel any quarterback, I feel like there's other quarterbacks who aren't starting who could play better than Matt Ryan. I don't believe that he's disappointed because I don't think he was ever nice. Like Matt Ryan had never showed anything to me. He never showed anything to me that he was nice like that to disappoint me. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to play the way he's playing. If he don't have a plethora of a talent, he gonna look like this. The reason why he looked like that in Atlanta because they had damn near everybody, man. Atlanta had damn near everybody that was bona fide. They had Calvin Ridley. They had Julio Jones. They had Michael Turner dude coming out the backfield. They had another dude, Devontae. What's his name, man? Devontae Freeman coming out the backfield, catching the ball like motherfucking like Garrison Hurst and dude from the Rams on the greatest show on turf. These niggas, it had everything willing and dealing. This is why he looks so nice. To me, a quarterback is nice when he don't really got much and he still makes it work. You know, when I realized Tom Brady is protected like a motherfucker, but he's still nice. When he still damn near beat Peyton Manning and didn't have nobody. That's why I'm like, this dude is really nice. Because Peyton Manning sweating and Tom Brady ain't got nobody.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I gave him respect. I always give guys respect at QB just because I realized the media be hyping motherfuckers up. Like they had Joe Burrow so hyped up. Didn't he not look pedestrian when you see him playing against Lamar Jackson? Did you not see it was a difference?
Exactly.
Like it's a difference. If one dude don't have the perfect setup, he gonna lose, man. And the other dude always in the game, no matter who the fuck he play with. That's different. That's a different level of talent. You know what I'm saying? So hell no. I ain't disappointed by Matt Ryan. I know that's a good old boy there. He's still a quarterback in the NFL because he's a good old boy, and they want him to leave, well, at least probably another MVP or something, so he don't look like he was a bust. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
before you go off, Richie Rich, I want to say a few things about Matt Ryan. He looks washed this year. I mean, the guy had 11 fumbles, 7 interceptions already. I just wonder, is it because of his pigmentation? Because I'm telling you, man, if he was a black quarterback, he would have already got the boot, man. And this dude right here,
Oh, that's for
you know, that
sure.
ugly win against Denver, he was 15 for 26. He only had 118 yards, but he had 2 interceptions and he had a 37 passer rating. And he wasn't even under pressure. I feel like this dude has been playing extremely poorly, and he's ranked 24th in yards. So, and on top of that, the dude is 37 years old. So why are they keeping this dude around?
Like I told you, man, it's a good old boys thing, man. They want to retire at least on a good note, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, this is entertainment as much as it is a sport. It's not. A lot of it is scheduled to be the way it is. You know what I'm saying? While people really get hurt, people really score touchdowns, but it's scheduled to be the way it is. And certain quarterbacks don't get more for whether they deserve it or not. They're gonna get more chances to succeed than others. Let's look at Cam Newton. There's no reason why Cam Newton is not in the NFL. It's not that many great quarterbacks to where Cam Newton should not have a job somewhere, even if he's a backup, right? He should have a job. He don't have a job because truth be told, they never want niggas like that to be a quarterback to begin with. So he has to perform at the maximum level. And put it this way, if a black quarterback can't start, he won't be in the NFL long. He won't be no backup quarterback. He just won't be no quarterback. Period. He has to be able to come in and start right away to even be considered.
Yep. What's your take on Matt Ryan, Richie Rich?
I feel like they thought he was gonna have that Phillip Rivers effect. Uh, like when Phillip Rivers was on that team a few seasons ago, he was able to have a solid season with that Indianapolis Colts team, even though with his advanced age, I believe, yeah, Phillip was around 37, 38 as well. But he didn't look like this. That man looked like one of the solid quarterbacks in the league, even at that age. Matt Ryan, man, he's just dusted, man, because every he's just one of those quarterbacks. He had some solid years, but now it's pretty much up for him. You know, he's and it's surprising because he has one of the best running backs uh, on that team, Jonathan Taylor. But Jonathan hasn't been producing this year as well, and he's one of the biggest disappointments as well. I don't know what's going on with that team. They're just a bad team. You know that
So let's
Thursday
talk.
night football.
No, go ahead. Finish saying what you were
Yeah,
saying.
no, it's like that Thursday night football. That was like one of the worst games I've ever seen. One of the most ugliest games I've seen from both teams.
Yeah.
And why you say it's one of the most ugliest games you've seen from both teams?
Just the turnovers, the mistakes
It
from
was
all
trash.
phases, offense, defense, special team.
It was
It
a
was
trash.
just an ugly game. No, it looked like nobody wanted to win that game.
Okay. So let's talk about Mitchell Trubisky, another quarterback, 28 years old. This guy has a 2-year contract, 14.3 million with 5.25 million guaranteed. The Steelers, they've been tempted to trump him. Because his leadership skills, they praise him for his leadership skills and they praise him for being a great teammate, but it hasn't translated onto the field. Under the center, this guy has basically shown that outside of the 225-yard pass game and the 85 plus passer rating that he had initially, he's been slacking. So how do you guys feel with him? Because there's poor vision reading. His feel in the pocket is suspect. He presents a no threat for stretching the field. Basically he has no arm. He shows an occasional ability to escape pressure. So basically he has no fucking legs, and he's been stagnant. So why is Mike Tomlin still keeping this dude around? Is it because he doesn't have options?
Well,
Or
they still paying him, so he's gonna stay around. They sat him down. He's a backup quarterback now. Pickett.
Yeah, they put the rookie in.
They put the rookie in, but at the end of the day, the rookie not gonna do shit because offensive line ain't shit. Najee Harris could barely get a yard of separation before he's tackled. The offensive line ain't shit. So the rookie ain't gonna do shit either. But the rookie has a farther ceiling than Mr. Trubisky because I would say the farthest ceiling. He has the best ceiling based on the offense that they run. They got Mr. Trubisky, but they trying to make him something so he's not. Mr. Trubisky is a read quarterback. That's what he is. He's not like Lamar who played in a real offense in college. Lamar Jackson played in something that's more resembles professional offense than the majority of quarterbacks. All his plays were they were real complicated plays downfield where he's throwing the ball down to 40 yards every time he throw the ball. It was complicated. Mr. Trubisky, not so much. It was more so just a regular read that everybody run in college. If you're gonna get that guy, then you got to run. Then you got to run the offense that's gonna put him in the best to succeed. We did it one time with the Bears. We put them in a read offense, and we had 13 wins that year. You took him out the read and try to make him a drop back quarterback and try to make him a quarterback under center. It hasn't worked. Thing is, you get these quarterbacks that you want them to play the way you play, it's not going to work. So it's kind of like, has it been a disappointment? Yes. But who's going to come in there and fix that? They need Lamar Jackson. They need Patrick Mahomes to come in there and make that team a winner because the offensive line is trash. You need somebody who's going to be able to deal with pressure all day, and the majority of quarterbacks can't do that. Even some of the best that we call the best can't deal with the type of pressure you get when you play for Pittsburgh because their offensive line is trizash, man.
Facts. I got two more disappointing players that I'm going to mention, but there's some stuff that's heating up in the comment section. I really want you guys and your expertise to address. There's this dude named Gitz that said, if I tell you my team, can you tell me trades I should look for? I'm 1-4. So Ross and Richy Rich, I'm gonna need you guys to help him out. This is his squad. He got Z Wilson, Dax, Saquon, KW3 Cups, Diggs, Goodwin, Schultz, London. His bench is Bateman, Myers, Mishnick, Dotson, Hollins, and Dallas. So how can get his team up to par from 1-4 based on you guys' expertise? What recommendation you guys give him?
Man, he shouldn't be losing with that team. He need a new quarterback. That's what he need.
Yeah, Dak is on the pine.
Right. Dak's on the pine. You need a new quarterback. Zach Wilson not gonna get it. You got a team, but it depends on how you play these guys. You gotta look and see which one of your guys are playing against the worst defense. So you can't just play Saquon every game. You gotta choose between who's the other back you got. You got Saquon. What's the other back? Who's KW3? What's the real name?
Yeah, that's on who's KW3.
You got Saquon. You can't play Saquon every game. You got to play on when he's playing against a premier team that he's gonna go crazy against, unless you ain't got no choice. When you play Diggs, don't play Diggs when you're playing against a top level covering team. A secondary, you play them against when you're playing a trash secondary, so that they can get demolished and put in work. You know what I'm saying? You got the team to win. You ain't playing all right, man.
He's right with Cup.
He got Conkin on the bench too because he led the team to the Super Bowl last year. That's why he's still starting. So how you guys feel with him having Conkin on the bench too?
What he did last year had nothing to do with this year, man. That's over with. And Conkin ain't putting in no work. Conkin get out of there. And me personally, I'll do no trades with nobody, man, because I get rid of the person and get somebody else on free agency. Even if I get them off just for one game, I get them off for one game. If they're decent and they're going to play against somebody that's trash, I get them off free agency for one game, man, and get those points.
And then Seth Kotler asked, should I trade James Conner, Keenan Allen, and Bate for Jamar? How you guys feel about that?
Jamar.
Jamar Chase. Yeah, man, because
Oh,
Bateman ain't really doing so. He dropping the ball all over the place. Keenan Allen hurt. Yeah, so you basically train him for James Conner. Yeah, that's a good train. Whoever doing that, goofy as hell.
yeah.
Now, Gibbs,
Keenan Allen is on the pine. He's hurt.
Yeah,
So
you
you should
yeah,
said
now,
that's a good trade.
that's a
now
good
Gibbs said,
trade.
why would I not play Diggs or Saquon? They are T1 players.
You can't
So
play them
what is you
every
guys'
game,
response
No,
to
man.
that?
you gotta always pay attention to what Ross was saying is you gotta always pay attention to who they're playing. If they're going up against a top like Saquon, for instance, if he's going against a top level run defense,
Facts.
like let's say the Bucks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't give up rushing yards.
Right.
You want to make sure you don't play Saquon that day. Uh, but Saquon, he's a dual threat running back, so he can get you points by catching out the backfield.
Yeah.
Or Diggs, like the Buffalo Bills. Who they playing this week?
They're playing. Let me see real quick. They're playing against Kansas City.
Kansas
So it's
City.
gonna be
He's
tough.
gonna
It's
ball
gonna be
out
a
in that
tough
game.
game.
Now it's gonna be a tough game, but he gonna ball out. Kansas
Yeah.
City.
Yeah,
No game
Kansas
gonna
City
pass.
secondary is
Trash.
sketchy.
Yeah, he gonna get off.
well,
But I think
um,
Saquon Barkley is a good pick. This is a good pick this year because this game because he about to play against the Baltimore Ravens. Their defense has been trash as of late, and they can't stop a cold when it comes to the run game.
yep. Well, the bottom line is based on the expertise that Ross and Richie Rich is given, you got to judge it week in and week out. Just because you got a bona fide player, and that's what we're getting you guys in the habit of understanding when it comes to fantasy football. Fantasy football is about who's balling out of control for that week and what have you done for me lately. That's why it's football at its purest form. It's not about names. So you can have Saquon Barkley all you want. Now, if Saquon Barkley is balling out every week, depending on the level of defense, then yeah, have him as your tier one. But if he's going to be playing against a team that's going to stack up against him and he's not going to be playing up to par, if you got a bench player that's going to be playing against a weak defense, then you need to bench Saquon for that week. I mean, it's just that simple.
Well, I mean, when you look at the Giants' schedule for the next until they play the Cowboys, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next 4 weeks, they're going to be playing some very bad defenses. The Jaguars, the Seahawks, the the Jaguars are not a bad defense. It's just their run defense is not that good. So
Mm-hmm.
he's going to be able to produce in that game. He's going to be playing against the Seahawks the week after. He's going to produce in that game. And then the Texans, he's going to produce. And then the Lions, he's definitely going to produce in those games. But hopefully he holds up because Saquon, he's been injury prone. But I'm rooting for the dude to hold up because that dude is solid, man.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
for
rooting
real.
for him. I'm rooting for Saquon because Saquon is the savior of the running back position. He's brought back a luster and he's brought back a swag to that position. And you guys know how I feel about the running back position. I don't know why they've made it prehistoric, dime a dozen, so many years ago. I feel like that position is so crucial and important to football because that position creates possessions and it creates a situation where if you have a dominating running back, you stay on that field. And that puts pressure on your defense. Football has become so pass oriented that teams are predictable, because everyone knows the type of pass that these teams are going to throw, how the quarterback likes to throw the ball, who the quarterback likes to throw to. It's become so predictable. And when you've had dominating running backs in the past genre of football in their golden era, I would say like the 90s, the early 2000s, that really made defenses have to really show if they were elite. And you separated truly at that time the weak from the strong because could you imagine having to go up against a running back that can run it down your throat? You know how many three down situations that you have to, and then every time that running back gets you that first down, now you got to go 3 and out again. That running back gets you another first down, you go 3 and out. Now we really get to see if the defense has the stamina, they have the endurance to be able to handle that. And I
Mm-hmm.
honestly believe in football, a lot of defensive players have been basically kind of chilling. They've been on vacation because you don't have running backs that are, and when I say running backs, I'm talking about a litany of running backs in the league that could run it down their damn throat. You don't have that no more. So that's why football has become predictable, and actually it's taken away and tarnished the brand in of itself. But I want to go and touch back on the two more disappointing players. What about Carson Wentz? This guy was traded to the Colts in exchange for a 2022 third-round draft pick and a 2023 conditional second-round pick, along with a swap for a 2022 second-round draft picks. But my thing is, they lost to the Titans at home. Ron Rivera was asked by the NFC teams, are all 4-1 or better teams ahead of this division at this point? He responded, quarterback. This is a quarterback-driven league. And if you look at the teams that have been able to sustain success, they've been able to build it around a specific quarterback. It's very clear that Carson Wentz has not been that specific quarterback. Unfortunately, this guy's been throwing interceptions. He's been showcasing that in deep throw situations, he can't be counted upon. He folds under the big moments. So what is your guys' take on Carson Wentz overall and his disappointing year as a quarterback?
He ain't disappointed with me. Bruh, I keep saying this is serving for the night. A lot of these motherfuckers be protected, and whenever they gotta get it out the mud, they not really nice like that. They not nice like that. A lot of these guys, they need a certain element to win. They need a certain element to win, and the reason why we don't know it because they blame all their downfalls on the next man. They don't. They just now starting to hold Carson Wentz accountable. Carson Wentz was always wild, man, with the football. He was always wild, man. You know who plays like him, but he gonna get more. He always gonna get more benefit of doubt because he so called got a black man swag. Joe Burrow played like that. He hold the ball way too long. He always trying to throw 80 yards, man. You know what I'm saying? Joe Burrow be the reason why he be getting sacked. I'm gonna keep it 100 because he got a quick enough release to get the ball out. Even though he got a bad offensive line, he just don't, man. And he don't have the athleticism to hold on to the ball like he do. He always getting sacked, man, and he always looking around like somebody did something to him, man. Carson Wentz the same fucking way, man. He would never fire like that. So hell no. Like I told people, I said, man, when Carson Wentz leave Philly, man, he'll get exposed. And he exposed, man, for what he really is. A game manager that don't know he a game manager. Carson Wentz is a game. Carson Wentz is a game. Him and Ryan whatever his name is, Ryan is too. They game managers that think they real gunslinger.
We know what the insult is when you call a quarterback a game manager, but can you explain it to the folks that are new to football or the folks that just don't understand when you say game manager what that insult means?
Yeah, me personally, if you game manage the right way, it's not an insult because you winning games. All quarterbacks should be a game manager. All quarterbacks should be able to manage a game. They should be game managers, but they should be able to make plays on their own. Majority of quarterbacks don't know that they're game managers and they don't have the capability to be spectacular. And they need to keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? That's all it means. Game manager means you protect the ball. You do the basis of quarterback very well. You protect the ball.
Basically, you play it safe.
Right. Because you know better because you know that's your limitations. To me, being a game manager is a problem when your game manager, your quarterback, which is supposed to be a game manager, don't understand when it's time to make a play, when it's time to not make a play, and keep it simple.
And when you know who's the most overrated quarterback and the ultimate game manager? Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is
Aaron
Rodgers is he is a trumped up game manager, man. Don't get me wrong, he can sling it, but Aaron Rodgers don't sling it. With the talent he has, he don't sling it enough. He always think like everybody's supposed to be open and shit. Like, bro, welcome to the league where you got regular quarterbacks and you got to throw them open. Everybody
he got exposed once Donald Driver was out of the mix because that was his favorite target for years. Once Donald Driver basically started sliding, that's when Aaron Rodgers slided as a quarterback. Let's be honest. He has that favorite target that he likes to throw to, and then when he can't keep getting into the favorite target, he gets exposed.
That's all the fuck he do, man. And a lot of these quarterbacks ain't like that. but they white, so they get the benefit of the doubt. But a lot of these quarterbacks, they're just looking for one guy, man. And then when that's not there, they're just dumping it off. They're not really out there willing and dealing like that, man. And they need all the time in the world. When they don't have more than 3.5 seconds, which is a long time, you're supposed to have get rid of the ball by 3 seconds.
Yep.
When they don't get that much time, they're automatic sack. They're automatic liability when they can't get the ball out in somebody's hands fast.
The
Okay,
last
don't play.
genre of white quarterbacks that were fire was when you had Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Those guys were fire, man, because those guys got the ball out in 3 seconds, man. Those guys were all nasty. Drew Brees, I feel like the accolades and the acclamation that Aaron Rodgers got, Drew Brees low key should have gotten those calculations, and he should have gotten that attention because Drew Brees was just putting up numbers, man. The guy was basically doing his thing. And the reason why it was so impressive is because Drew Brees was not as tall as Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't as tall as Tom Brady. He wasn't as tall as Peyton Manning. And he was able to get the ball in these receivers' hands, and he was able to be consistent. I mean, this guy had 5,000 passing yard game seasons. This guy, man, was throwing 400, 500-yard games. And this guy was just balling. You never heard anything about Drew Brees and him not being a quarterback that guys didn't want to play for. Like, I feel like his career as a quarterback is one of those undeserving ones, kind of like Kurt Warner. Those are the two quarterbacks that I thought was nice, as white quarterbacks that didn't get the just and the deserving just due that they deserve, because those guys had hellified careers. I just wanted to point that out real quick because those guys just don't get the respect that they deserve. But Rich, I wanted to know your take on the Carson Wentz situation as well as Aaron Rodgers and some of the stuff that we just talking about right now.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate what happened to his career because his rookie season, he looks like, Eagles finally have, a competent quarterback since the days of Donovan McNabb, because, he was balling out that season. And then he tears his knee by trying to do too much. He ran for a touchdown, but I think he jumped a certain way, and then he landed on his knee awkwardly, and he tore his knee. And then after that, I believe what's his name? Nick Foles took over the job. And Nick Foles, he was a quarterback who's been a starter in the league before. He even played for the Eagles years before. And he was one of those quarterbacks that had that experience. And he was the one that led them to a Super Bowl. They beat the Patriots that year. And then all of a sudden, Carson Wentz comes back and he can't perform like how he performed in his rookie year. And, people looking at this dude funny, like, okay, you didn't win this Super Bowl ring for us. How come the backup is on the bench and he was the guy that won the Super Bowl? But they gave you the starter role. You know how it is because he was the top draft pick. He's the guy that has the who they're riding on in the future. That has the potential.
Is the locker room already didn't believe in him. He lost faith.
He lost faith from the coach. He lost faith from the players around him, and I believe he lost face from upper management. But upper management, they got to save face because they've invested into the kid. He was he was one of the top first. I think he was number 2. It was between him and Jared Goff, 1 and 2. And they invested all that time into him. So they can't just throw him away. But it wasn't until they saw that this cat couldn't play the way he used to play. Like, I don't know if it was, he had that in the back of his mind that he couldn't lead this team to a Super Bowl. He wasn't the guy that led them to a Super Bowl, but he could never get on his game. And he just became a turnover machine. That's what Carson Wentz has become now. A quarterback who turns the football over. He's a guy
Right.
who could make
He'll
all the
toss it up.
throws. Yeah, he could make all the throws, but he always is gonna make a mistake. You could count on it. Like a mistake is gonna happen. Either he's gonna fumble the ball or he's gonna throw an interception. And as a quarterback, that's a big no-no. You can't have a guy like that on the field leading your team, because we all know if you turning over the football, man, you giving the opposition a chance to win the game.
Right.
If you can't take care of the football, and that Carson Wentz, that's his major problem. He's become a turnover machine.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of quarterbacks in this league that don't realize your first priority is to manage the game. That's your first priority. It's not just being able to pass the ball. That's the reason why. Justin Herbert barely win games. He know how to throw the ball. He don't know how to manage the game to save his life.
Yeah,
Justin Herbert is always looking to make the hardest throw, man. And he won't check
exactly.
down. He won't check down until he done ate the turf 8 times, or until it's at the very last second he'll finally try to check down, man. Like, bro, managing the game is always getting forward progress no matter what. You can't always just be taking these sacks. This dude be holding the ball forever trying to throw the ball down the field 60 yards. Hey, bro, take the quick 10 yards. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, a lot of these guys,
Yep.
they don't know how to manage the game. That's the reason why they're not that good quarterbacks. And they just get the benefit of the doubt because they got blonde hair, blue eyes, man. Justin
Yep.
Herbert don't be winning no games when he's not a good quarterback, no matter how good of a spiral look.
Mm-hmm.
That don't mean shit.
And that's why we're segueing this one. Ross had jumped the gun with that one, but I was saving the best for last with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, I want you guys to hear the trade compensation for this, because this amplifies guys like Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and their worth and value as quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, 33-year-old quarterback, the trade compensation they did to acquire this dude is they gave up a fourth round pick for 2 first round picks, 2 second rounders, a 5th rounder, quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, and defensive tackle Shelby Harris. I felt like they gave way too much. And the new contract they gave this dude was 5 years, $245 million. That's well over 50 something million dollars a year when you really base it down, with 165 million. Basically, his whole contract minus 80 million is guaranteed. 165 million guaranteed. And here's the thing, I'm not sure anyone could have predicted what we've seen from Matthew Hackett and Russell Wilson through the first 5 games, because they don't have no shortage of talent. But the Broncos are only averaging 15 points per game, 31st in the NFL. How many teams we got in the NFL? Isn't it 32?
And too.
Yeah,
And they're 31st? That's ridiculous. And it's due to mental errors, clearly from Russell Wilson. The offensive players are not being on the same page. That's a Russell Wilson problem. And poor execution from Russell Wilson, which is going back to what you're talking about, which is him not being a game manager. For a veteran quarterback, he's on pace to have his lowest passer rating at 82.2. And his completion percentage is 59.2 for his career. That does not sound like someone that's worth 5 years, $245 million with $165 million guaranteed. And he's had just 4 passing TDs this season. He's also not making the off-schedule plays we're accustomed to seeing in Seattle. So is it clear that this guy's lost the step? Is it clear that this guy's lost it?
Now, the thing about it is Seattle ran Russell Wilson into the ground. That's not even how you cultivate a quarterback. At no point in this dude's career did he ever have an offensive line. Like, nigga literally running around as soon as he get the ball every play. That's not sustainable. And it's because of his greatness, he's barely catching up to him right now. That should have been called to Russell Wilson. What Russell Wilson needs now is what all white quarterbacks need. He needs the offensive line. He needs weapons. He needs guys that are going to catch the ball, and he needs a coach that know what the fuck he's doing. Because A quarterback's supposed to manage the game, but the coach's supposed to coach. Nobody, these niggas don't know when to take timeouts. They don't know when to take guys out of games. They don't know how to sub. Their coaching is atrocious on all levels, and it makes sense because there's a brand new coach at every level of football. There's a brand new defensive coach. There's a brand new special teams coach, and there's a brand new coach, man, and a brand new offensive coordinator. Everybody there is new, man. It's like an expansion team almost. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I can't really say, I don't know whether this is all Russ or not because there's too much trash there. If we gotta sift through the trash first, I say I'm giving Russ a year. I'm giving Russ this year until next year. I'm gonna give him this year to see what's going on because I believe he deserved the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna have to see something around. They don't have shit around. They trash. They got what? It's a Sutherland, a Suitland, a wide receiver. That's it. You know they don't really got much. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he over there playing with the. He's not over there playing with the Broncos that Peyton Manning have. He's playing with some guys out there originally that haven't been in the league. That these guys. I'm exaggerating now, but these guys are they're supermarket cashiers. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as talent, so we'll see. I can't write them off too quick because it's too many moving parts over there that just got their first starts. You know what I'm saying? Russell Wilson got more football experience than his coaches. You know what I mean? So
What about you, Richie Rich? What's your take on Russell
Yeah,
Wilson?
I agree with Tom Ross. The jury, is still out. You shouldn't put all the blame on Russell Wilson. He's part to blame because
yeah,
since everything is new, the coaching staff, uh, he could have went out there and played a couple of preseason games just to get a head start with some of those players on the team and the play calling because the NFL is different from college, man. NFL, everybody got to be on the same page. Those playbooks are a whole lot more complex. I remember Matthew Hasselback when he was showing the size of an NFL playbook, man, and you saw how thick that thing looks like two books, two hard books together, man. That's a thick book. You got to remember all the plays. The quarterbacks they have to remember a whole litany of plays. So Russell, knowing that he was going into this season with a new coaching staff and he didn't even play preseason, I knew that there was going to be struggles. And him coming off injury year, what this guy is normally a very durable quarterback, but like Tom Ross pointed to, Seattle, they put everything on his back. So at some point he started to wear down a little, but he's a guy with he's one of those quarterbacks with a hard work ethic. That dude, he don't play around. He puts in the work. So you got to give him a little time to see what he's going to do with that team. They have a good defense. It's the offense that looks off. Once he figures it out with those players, the receivers mainly, and they get the running game solid, he's gonna be able to make noise in that division, you know. But right now, there's gonna continue to be more struggles. Their starting running back is out of the season. He tore his ACL. Javante, uh, he tore his ACL, so now they got to count on Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon is a fumble machine, man. That guy, he's always fumbling the football. So that's not a running back Russell can count on. So he's gonna have to get his timing better with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. Those are his receivers.
Okay, so let's switch gears. Let's talk about the powerhouse games for week 6. The powerhouse teams. Dallas Cowboys are 4-1. Philadelphia Eagles are 5-0. How do you guys see that powerhouse game playing out with both of them being as dominant as they've been so far in the last 5 weeks?
um, I got Philly going in there and beating Dallas. I got Philly has a good defense as well as Dallas got a good defense, but Philly can run the ball and they're finishing over the top, the deep ball, man. I got that's gonna be a real competitive game, but I just don't think Cooper Cup gonna outplay Jalen Hurts. Now that come back, that could be a wild card. But as far as how these teams are set up right now, I don't see Cooper Cup outplaying Jalen Hurts.
I
But
got Dallas. I got Dallas +6 because I like the 1-2 punch with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard,
Yeah,
and I just feel like that 1-2 punch in the backfield is gonna clog up possessions, and it's gonna allow for Dallas to win the game by 6 points. That's my take on it. What about you, Richie Rich?
I agree. I would go with Dallas uh, to cover. That game's going to be a really close game, but I think Philly edges it out because they have the home field advantage, and they can run the ball as well, and their defense has been solid, you know, throughout the week 5. The teams that I do think they've been playing some teams that haven't been that good, but the Arizona Cardinals game, that was a game that kind of got them ready for a little bit better competition because Arizona Cardinals, they're not playing that well so far this season, but that's a team you're not when they're fully healthy, when they got all their players, they're gonna push you, man. They're not gonna you won't be able to win uh an easy game against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals did push the Eagles because in that game, the Eagles were basically running the ball on everybody. Jalen Hurts was running for 100 yards. The running back was running for 100 yards. But this game, they were pushed. The Cardinals didn't let Jalen Hurts do what he wanted to do out there in terms of running the football. They had to win. They had to win in other ways, and they were able to win a tough game. So that's going to help them for this week going forward. And they got the home field advantage. But I think it's going to be a tight game because, as Heknows says, the Cowboys, they have a solid running game with Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard. And plus, that defense, man, is no joke. They're going to be able to put some pressure on Hurts to where Eagles are not going to be able to get a huge separation in that game. And plus, Cooper Rush, although he's not he's a backup, but he's one of those smart game managers. He's not going to try to do anything crazy. He's going to keep you within the game. He's going to make he's not going to make mistakes. He's going to play within his means. So the Cowboys, they're going to keep the game close, but they're not going to beat Philly and Philly.
Now, what about the other powerhouse game, the Buffalo Bills versus Kansas City Chiefs? I got the Chiefs winning the game by 3 points. I mean, I don't believe in 50-50s, but this game right here, these teams are evenly matched. Both of them have explosive offenses, and they can outscore any team in the NFL. I give the Bills an edge because, the Buffalo's defense has been early on one of the early season revelations of being one of the best defenses out there and holding teams, especially in the first and second half against any pass. But Kansas City, even though they've struggled against the pass, they still got Patrick Mahomes. So I feel like this is going to be one of them psychological type of games. And I feel like if both teams can stay healthy, this could potentially be an AFC divisional playoff game or an AFC championship game. So how you guys see these two teams playing out going into Sunday?
I don't see, even though the Bills they're moving and grooving right now, I don't see them coming in there and beating Kansas City at home. Um, Josh Allen, he's a major talent. But let's be honest, man. Josh Allen is not really that good under pressure, and that's what they're not saying in the media. Majority of the games decided by one possession is lost by Josh Allen. Man. And they're not going to be able to come in and blow Kansas City out. So I don't. Typically when they win, they have to blow you out. I don't see them winning a close game against Kansas City. I just don't. They wouldn't won a close game against the Ravens. One will have to watch the game to see why they won against the Ravens. Damn, every call was against the Ravens. I don't see them coming in and beating Kansas City though at home. I just don't.
What about you, Richie Rich?
Yeah, I have to agree. I think the Chiefs are going to be able to have the advantage of winning this game. Because the last time these two teams played, man, I know it was last season, but they put up about 78 total points. You know, the Bills, they played bad game managing because they allowed Mahomes to have that ball back, get that ball back, and he was able to score and win the game in overtime. But the Bills, they have a lot of injuries on defense, especially their secondary. So Mahomes, he's going to be able to take advantage of that. And playing at home, you know, Mahomes, man, he's going to do his magic, man, and they're going to be able to win that game. It's going to be a close game because the Bills, they've uh they've learned how to play the Chiefs a whole lot better throughout the years because it's been the Chiefs that's been knocking them out these last two seasons. But last year was really, really close. The Bills are almost there. But I think what's going to hurt the Bills in this game is all the injuries they have on defense. They got a couple top-notch guys on their secondary, man, that are going to be out for. One is out for the season, their safety, and there's another one. He's going to be out for a few weeks. So I think that's just going to be too much to overcome, to where the Chiefs are just going to be able to win that game.
Let's do two more exciting games for Sunday. The next one, I know Ross is going to have a lot to talk about with this one. The Giants at 4-1 versus the Baltimore Ravens. And Richie Rich, I want to hear what you got to say on the back end with that. How you guys see that game playing? How do you guys see that game playing out? Feel like it's going to be a challenging game for the Baltimore Ravens. But I got them winning by 7 points.
I think it's going to be a challenging game because the Ravens are a bad defense that's on an uptick or a bad defense. And any quarterback can take advantage of a bad defense. But we'll see if the Ravens make these adjustments. If the Ravens, no matter what, they just send four down linemen after Daniel Jones and drop everybody back in coverage. It might be a problem because Daniel Jones could get out of the pocket. They had to, if you ask me, make Daniel Jones beat man to man defense and send as many people as possible, not just at Daniel Jones, but to clog up the lanes for Saquon Barkley as well. They're going to need mass defense protect and make him actually beat you down the field with his arm and his receivers. I don't think he could do it. As far as Lamar, if Wink Martindale plays the defense that he always plays against everybody, which is blitz, 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 I think he gets his ass toe up this game. Lamar Jackson missed two throws last game. He's not going to miss the same throws this game. If somebody fly wide open, they dead in the water. So I got.
Well, I honestly agree with Tom Ross in this one. I think the Ravens are going to throw 9 guys in the box because this game, the whole game plan is going to be centered around Saquon Barkley and even Daniel Jones to a degree because he's a quarterback that likes to run. It's crazy. He kind of reminds me of Steve Young and Doug Flutie, those type of quarterbacks. Those Caucasian quarterbacks that like to run a lot. You don't really see a lot of those, but that's the type of quarterback he is. So he doesn't really beat you with his arm. He likes to use his legs. But the Ravens are going to be able to limit their running game because they won't really have to worry about their passing game as much. Because the Giants, they lost their best receiver in Sterling Shepard. That was the guy that he was really going to when he actually threw the ball, Daniel Jones. So since he's not there, their passing game is not really the driving force of their offense. They're a team they like to they really establish the run. The Ravens, all they got to do is just put 9 guys on the box and just take that out. Take away their running game, and they should have the edge. The Ravens showed, this past week that they were able to play a ugly game and win it. When they beat the Bengals, they were able to win a close game, and their defense was able to put the clamps on the Bengals. So I think that's going to carry over in this game, and they're going to be able to have the edge against the Giants. Lamar's going to do his thing, you know.
About the Minnesota Vikings versus the Miami Dolphins. I got the Dolphins surprisingly winning a low-scoring game, 14-3. I know you guys gonna be like, but they don't have Tua and Teddy Bridgewater's on concussion protocol. But the Dolphins' defense has been balling out of control, and I feel like their defense is gonna shock the Minnesota Vikings. Man, I'm rooting for the Dolphins to win 14-3. So, what do you guys see in that game with the Miami Dolphins versus the Minnesota Vikings?
No, I definitely see an upset in the maker. I definitely see an upset in the maker because, let's be honest, Kirk Cousins isn't the most mobile quarterback. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to handle Miami Dolphins' blitz. He doesn't have the type of arm like how Lamar Jackson just swinging it everywhere and beating the blitz. I don't see Kirk Cousins being able to do that. They're not going to be able to run the ball if they want to. So it's going to come down to Kirk Cousins winning this game with his arm. And I have more faith in Miami Dolphins defense than I do in Minnesota Vikings offense.
What about you, Richy Rich?
Well, I mean, it all depends on what quarterback is coming to center, but I don't know. That quarterback, man, on the Dolphins that backs up Tua.
Zappy?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, he's hurt.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's coming out of concussion protocol, so you don't even know if he's going to be ready to play. Skylar Thompson is a rookie, and he's going to make mistakes. That's what rookies do. And Dolphins, they have no shot in this game because you saw what happened this past week. The Jets were able to put up 40 points on them because the defense was constantly on the field because the offense couldn't do anything. And when the defense has to constantly bail out the offense and they're always on the field, guys are going to get tired and they're eventually going to start giving up plays. That's what happened last week. The Vikings, they have one of those, they got some potent offensive players, man. They got Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins. He ain't one of the best quarterbacks in the game, but he's a competent quarterback. They got Adam Thielen. They got some solid playmakers on that team, man. And Dolphins defense is gonna get tired especially them cornerbacks. They're gonna get tired having to cover Justin Jefferson. That guy's been putting up insane numbers. He's the receiver. He has the most yards than any receiver in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. I don't know if he's gonna keep that up, but so far, man, he that's something that he got on Jerry Rice. He got on Randy Moss. He got on Terrell Owens. He got all on those legendary receivers. His first 2 years, no one has produced like him. So I don't know. Dolphins, man, they in for it on Sunday, man. Kirk Cousins, he's gonna be licking his chops. The game might start off slow for the Vikings, but at some point they're gonna be able to catch their stride because that Dolphins defense is gonna be on the field a lot because that offense is not gonna be able to really move the ball on the Vikings.
Okay, so let's switch gears here, because Ross was able to give his fair assessment on a game that he's biased for as it relates to the Baltimore Ravens with his affinity for Lamar Jackson. Now, Richie Rich.
No, I'm not. I'm not biased in my picks. Even if I like a player, I think I'm gonna say if I think they're gonna win. I don't think the Giants. I don't think the Giants gonna beat Baltimore. I just
Yeah,
don't.
That's why I said
Yeah.
you gave a fair assessment, even with your bias for Lamar Jackson. You gave a fair assessment on that. Now I'm switching gears with Richie Rich because I know he's biased with the San Francisco 49ers. So let's see if Richie Rich could do what you did and give a fair assessment. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons. So we're gonna start off with you, Ross. How do you see that game playing out with the San Francisco 49ers and the Atlanta Falcons?
Crazy thing is, this game can go either way because both of these guys have quarterbacks you can't really rely on. You can't really rely on Mariota. You can't really rely on Garoppolo, right? So it's going to come down to the accentuating players, how they play. It's going to come down to the defense. With that being said, I'm gonna have to go with San Fran. I'm gonna have to go with San Fran by 3. Even though Jimmy Garoppolo is not the best player, I believe he's gonna make the least mistakes.
Okay, what about you, Richie Rich?
And that's a solid assessment breakdown of. Yeah, I mean, 49ers, there's things they're going into this game that you got to pay attention to. Uh, Nick Bosa, who's the team's best pass rusher, he's also the NFL sack leader. He injured his groin uh, last week when they played the Carolina Panthers. He's what makes that San Francisco defense. He gives that San Francisco defense that extra edge because that dude, man, when he gets on off the line, you know, he normally sacks the quarterback. The 49ers pretty much got the best line in the NFL. They get to quarterbacks at an extremely fast rate, you know, but if he's not there, it's gonna affect the 49ers defense, you know, and that might give the Falcons a chance to win that game. You know, just like our Tom Ross said, it can go any other way because 49ers are coming into this game with injuries. I got to see if these guys are actually out or in. You know, the way the Atlanta Falcons played the Bucs last week, they almost won that game. You know, if it wasn't for that weird call that Brady got, they would have had an opportunity to win that game last week because they were the last 2 drives they were able to score. You know, that Falcons team, they're a surprising team. They don't have a good record, but they're a team. If you've been paying attention to them, if you're betting someone that's involved in betting, they're a team that's been covering their numbers. When they say that they're going to lose by this total to certain teams, they always don't lose by that total. They actually keep those games competitive, or they actually win them. So this is a game. This is a team that 49ers, you know, they can't overlook this team because they could easily lose this game because that Falcons team has some playmakers on it. And Mariota, he hasn't, although he's not a quarterback you would rely on or he would be your first choice. He's a quarterback that could make things happen, you know. And it could be a toss up, you know. Obviously, I'm a 49ers fan. I want them to win, but this game could be a toss-up. I'm still going to say the 49ers because I feel that they just have more playmakers on their team to get the job done. They've been there a lot, and they've won games like this before. You know, they've been a team. They've gone deep, you know, the last few years. They were in the Super Bowl about 3 seasons ago. This past season, they were in the NFC Championship. They got guys that's been there, done that. So that's how they got to approach this game. But with the injuries they got coming in, Atlanta Falcons, they have a chance to steal this game.
That's why I said it's tricky because both of these teams.
Now let's switch gears and talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should win that game. Now I'm throwing my bias into it because you guys know my affinity for Tom Brady. I feel like this should be a blowout game, but I also think that this could be one of those upset games too. Yes, the Steelers are 1-4. But let's be honest. Tom Brady's been playing marginal this year at best, and there have been chinks in the armor as it relates to the Buccaneers. So this is one of those games that could swing them back into a groove, and they can be 4-2, or this could be a game where they lose, and then they have to really start paying attention to their dynamics and become 3-3. So this game right here could be a game that can shell shock them if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't come to play. That's my take on it. But I'm giving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a 21-7, 14-point cushion. That's what I think the game should turn out.
Tampa Bay has no reason to lose this game. If they lose this game, it's going to be a big upset. They have all the advantages in this game. They should blow this team out. Anything less than a blowout is a letdown. They got a rookie quarterback. Their defense is solid, but they don't really got no offense, so their defense is gonna be out there all day, right? Um, the the Buccaneers, on the other hand, got all three phases. They got a defense, they got an all-time QB, and they got weapons on offense. And their special teams. This game should be. They should have this game in control from beginning to end. Anything less, it's a disappointment.
About you,
Yeah.
Richie Rich, how you see that game playing out?
Uh, Steelers, the Bucks should dominate this game from all phases, man, because just like you guys pointed to, the Steelers have a rookie quarterback in. Last week they had the line of the Buffalo Bills beating the Steelers by 14 points. They blew them out by even way more of a margin because you knew what time it is. Steelers are a team. They don't have their best defensive player in T.J. Watt. He's because I guess he tore a pectoral muscle and he's going to be out for a few more weeks. So their defense don't function the same, meaning that Tom Brady is going to be able to carve this defense up like Josh Allen was. And Tom is starting to get his weapons back. He got uh, Julio Jones back, and he's gonna get Godwin back too. So he's gonna be able to make more plays with these guys. He's still you see Tom Brady. He's still throwing these passing yards, but now these is gonna turn into more touchdowns, especially with this team that they're facing this week. There's gonna be a week where Brady could pad his stats, and they're gonna win by a
Well,
comfortable margin.
okay, good. So we're all in agreement that it's going to be a game that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do their thing. So again, I'm going to need to lend you guys' expertise. Juke XD asks, "Can I get trade suggestions? I'm 2-3. I'll show you my team." This is his team: Jalen Hurts, um, Ken Walker, Brees. He has Najee, got Connor, Gibby, Devontae Smith, Mike Evans, Drake London, Brandon Cooks. His tight end is Mark Andrews. He got the Bucks D, and he forgot to add Pittman on the list. So, what do you guys think substitution wise for him?
Well, Ken Walker, since Arizona Cardinals got a good defense, good running defense, that guy probably won't be as productive. I just saw the news. Rashard Penny, that was the dude that was balling, that running back this year, behind center of the quarterback on the Seahawks. He's out for the season. He had a season-ending injury. And this guy, they're gonna put this guy. He's the guy that backs him up. So since they're playing the Cardinals this week, I would see if you could bench this guy or find if you can put somebody better in place. Let's see. What other running back he has on there? He has Najee. Najee is also a bad running back to have this week because they're going up against the Bucks. The Bucks are don't give up running yards. So you got some backs, man, that are not going to produce for you this week.
Right. Period.
Yeah,
Like I said, you better get on the waiver wire, see what you can pick up.
you gotta look for backs that are going to produce for you. I don't know who they have on the. You got to check to see who they have available and see what teams they're playing this week, and pay attention to the yards they give up week in and week out. These are the people that thrive in that fantasy. These guys, that's all they paying attention to, and they looking for gems, and they're paying attention to. They know everything. They know what passing yard these teams give up defensively, on
Yep.
or running wise. They look they some guys they even like go for a marginal defense just so they can have enough leeway to get more players that's going to bring in more points for them. If I because honestly, you don't need like because it's good if you have a defense that's getting you points like turnovers and all that, or
Right.
even turning the turnovers into touchdowns. But sometimes if you can get a mediocre defense that can do that for you here and there, to where you can have more leeway to have more points to spend on other players, other gems that can bring you even more points potentially.
What's your take on it, Ross?
Man, it's true. Like, dude, his running back situation is not good for this week. That it's a good situation, but it's not good for this week. This week he has to go to waiver wire, see if you can find something decent playing against a trash defense. As of this week, if those guys have breakout games, it will be like it'll be like hitting the lottery, man. They
Yeah,
both they both should have horrible games.
I'm looking at his receivers. Devontae Smith, he could be he could be a good sleeper pick. Mike Evans is definitely a good pick because he's gonna ball out on the Steelers.
Mike Evans is the pick, man. Devontae
Yeah,
Smith might get shut down because they about to play against
they
who?
about to play the Cowboys.
They about to play against
Yeah.
the Cowboys. The Cowboys got one of the best defenses in the league.
But you got to remember, what's his name? He's not uh, Diggs' brother. He's gonna be on. He's gonna be on AJ Brown. He's not gonna be on Devontae. So Jalen Hurts is gonna be looking for Devontae in this game more.
Yeah, but the thing about Jalen Hurts is it depends. Or if they can get a lead. If they got to play from behind, I don't know because Jalen Hurts he struggles against the blitz crazy. If they blitz Jalen Hurts,
Yeah, yeah,
if they blitz him all day, they could probably get him to make some uncharacteristic turnovers. And they got the defense to do it. They got the defense to get the pressure consistently.
Great breakdown, man. Juke XD. I hope you took notes based on these guys' expertise. So they really helped you out. So let's switch gears and go right back into this game because I think this is going to be the highlight game of this week for week 6. The New York Jets versus the Green Bay Packers. How do you guys see that game playing out?
Man, Green Bay, if Green Bay can't get this one, man, they might have to start looking. They might have to start looking for somebody else in the draft. Green Bay got to win this game, man. They can't lose this game, man. Y'all lost to the Giants. Y'all supposed to win that game. Y'all can't not come and now lose to Zach Wilson, man. You Aaron Rodgers. They got to win this game, and me having new receivers, that's not an excuse because let's look at what Lamar Jackson is playing with his whole career. So we can't do that. We can't give him no excuse. He got to win this game, man. I got Green Bay winning this game.
What about you, Richie Rich?
man. This is another toss up for me, man, because New York Jets are playing with some swagger, man. They won 2 weeks They won 2 times back to back. They beat the Steelers and then they beat the Dolphins. So they coming into this week with a lot of confidence, man. And the Packers, they're a team that's, Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you guys were paying attention to what he was talking about. There was some type of thing where his rookie receiver, Lou Dobbs, was talking about potential losses this team could have down the line because they aren't a team where they're not where they need to be at as a team yet. And Aaron Rodgers overheard him, and he was basically he had something bad to say about the rookie, saying that, man, that's not something that you should be ever talking about, losses. We play these games and stuff like that, and win, lose, you go home with the result. But like speaking that type of stuff into existence, that's not something that we should be on. He basically like checked the rookie in front of the media. I think he should have did that in-house. But Aaron Rodgers, he's one of those controversial type of quarterbacks. That's the type of stuff that he's on. So that's what I'm saying. The team may not be as close. So that's what I'm saying. The Jets could come in that game, and they could potentially steal that game because they got some swag. They're going into that game with some swagger, some confidence. And Aaron Rodgers, he's not connected with those young receivers on that team like that. And he's always criticizing them.
That may be true.
I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you said that. You said that light on Aaron Rodgers.
That may be true, but Green Bay got to win this game.
Yep. Now let's switch gears and let's talk about Cincinnati Bengals and New Orleans Saints. How you guys see that game playing out? They both 2-3.
Bengals gonna take it. Saints. What's the name is? Just how you know it's all about race, right? Because Taysom Hill, they are like, this nigga is so crazy. And Taysom Hill did some of the easiest throws. He's not a real quarterback, but nobody would say nothing, right? He's gonna get exposed against Cincinnati. Got a good defense, and you got to understand one thing. Cincinnati also feel like they just let one go. They feel like they should have beat the Ravens. They're gonna take out their frustrations out on the Saints, and the Saints don't got James Winston. They got dudes the dudes just not nice like that, man. They doing some college shit where one nigga come in, the other nigga come in, like that shit gonna get demolished, man. I got Cincinnati as a blowout, man.
What about you, Richy? Rich?
Cincinnati?
Yeah, Cincinnati versus New Orleans Saints. They both 2-3.
Well, I think this is going to be another close game. Because Cincinnati, they kind of their team, they kind of lost their mojo this year. They were, I guess they were living on that Super Bowl high that they got to a Super Bowl, but they just don't look that good of a football team this year. That line still can't protect Joe Burrow. New Orleans Saints, their defense is not that good this year, but they still have those veterans that could make plays and get to the quarterback. So it's a toss-up game for me. And I was surprised the New Orleans Saints, man, put up 39 points because that's a team, they don't normally do that. But they did that last week. And Taysom Hill, I can already see what they're gonna do against the Bengals. They're gonna run that. They're gonna give that ball to Taysom Hill, and they're gonna run it down their throat, man. They basically gonna count on Taysom Hill and Alvin to bring that thing home for them, pretty much, until what's his name gets back. You guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So while you holding that thought on figuring out who you were talking about, Let's answer this question from Dylan Varnell. He said, "Would you rather have picked up this week Ramondre Stevenson or Ken Walker the third?" And then he's talking about the Red Draft PPR league. What's your take on that?
He definitely should go with Ramondre Stevenson. I mentioned him earlier with the New England Patriots, who they're playing this week. They're playing the Cleveland Browns, so Cleveland Browns' running defense is not that good. So he's going to be able to produce better than this Ken Walker, because this is the third string running back on the second string running back on the Seattle Seahawks, and this guy is about to play a team that the Cardinals, who's a team that doesn't give a lot of running yards. They do a good job. They did a great job on the Eagles last week, but they lost the game because the kicker couldn't make the field goal kick to put the game into overtime.
Right.
It was a game that came down to the wire, but the Eagles couldn't run the football. That's one thing I was noticing. I was like, when I was paying attention to the Cardinals, they'll give up passing yards, but they don't give up running yards. Every team that plays them, their running back is not gonna run for 100 yards. They are not gonna allow it. So keep Ken Walker on the bench. If these are your two running backs, keep that man on the bench and play Ramondre Stevenson. Now the redraft PPR league, you gotta enlighten me a little more about that. I'm not too aware of that.
Also, what's your take on the question that he asked? And I'm gonna put the comment back up. Would you rather Ramondre Stevenson or Ken Walker the third for this week to pick up, as well as the Red Draft PPR League? If you know anything about it, could you shed some light on that?
I don't know shit about that, and I would rather have neither one of these guys. To be honest, there ain't nobody else he can pick up off the waiver line that's better than these guys. But if I had to choose between these guys, then I have to go with Stevenson.
Okay. So now let's go into the next game. This game right here is going to be interesting because you got the Indiana Colts. They got a tie. They're 2-2-1. It's been a while since I've seen a team with a record that has like a 2-2-1 situation with a tie. They're going to be playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. What is your guys' take on this game? I think the Jaguars are going to edge this game out. It's going to be very close, but I think they're going to win by 3. So what is you guys' take on this game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indiana Colts?
Um, it's really a toss up. Matt Ryan's really not like the Trevor Lawrence. He got some potential, but he's overrated. They're touting him to be something that he's not. So I don't really know who to choose between the quarterbacks. I guess it depends on which team got the better defense. Jacksonville or Saxonville. Who's playing at home?
The Colts are at home.
The Colts at home.
I'll take the Colts +3.
Okay. What about you, Richy Rich?
I mean, I think the Jaguars have the edge. They already beat the Colts already. And they beat them. They shut them out. They shut them out 24-0. But, the Colts are home now, so you can't expect the same result. Colts are going to play a little better, but the Colts look like an anemic football team that can't do nothing out there. You saw it this past Thursday where both teams looked like they didn't want to play. Like they were just trying to give up that game. Matt Ryan, he looks like he's dusted, man. Jaguars, they're a team that can cause turnovers. They're good at causing turnovers. So they have the edge. They got younger legs. They can cause turnovers. I think it's going to be another ugly game, a low-scoring game, and I think that the Jaguars are going to win a close game because of the outcome. I think they're going to be able to get.
We got 4 more games to break down. So what about the Denver Broncos versus the Los Angeles Chargers. How you guys see that game playing out?
I think the that's going to be the rebound game for Russell Wilson when he finally going to put together a a decent performance and edge out the Chargers.
What about you, Richie Rich?
I mean, the Chargers are firing, man, on all cylinders offensively. Uh, and they're at home this week. You know, I think what's his name comes back, Keenan Allen this week. So Herbert, man, he's gonna be able to have another weapon out there. He already got that Mike Williams dude, and he got Austin Eckler. So that Broncos defense is really gonna be tested this week. Pat Surtain's son, he's gonna be that boy nice, man. He played just like his daddy, but
Yeah, I know.
he gonna be tested this week.
Mm-hmm.
Because that dude, Mike Williams, he be mossing every cornerback. That dude's like 6'5", but this dude could actually make those catches when Herbert throws it to him deep. This guy out jumps everybody, man, and makes those.
That's gonna be a quality matchup right there.
That's gonna be a quality matchup between a freakish receiver versus a solid cover corner. You know, but I think it's going to be a close game. And because the Chargers are home, I'm going with the Chargers, man. The way they've been playing the past 2 weeks, Justin Herbert, you know, he looked like he's back from his because he broke his ribs. He broke his ribs a few weeks ago, but he looks like he's back again. Just the way that offense has been firing on all cylinders, I think they're just going to win that game.
So now let's jump into Arizona Cardinals versus the Seattle Seahawks. How you guys see that playing out?
All right, and let's make sure we keeping a tally on who chose who, man. Because I'm gonna be looking forward to see who win at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks and who again?
Seattle Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals going to rebound. They're going to rebound and get this game. They'll rebound and get this game by a touchdown. It's going to be a hard. It's going to be a hard fought game because Geno Smith is playing out of his mind.
What about you, Richie Rich?
I think Arizona Cardinals are going to win this game. You know, they've been a team where the losses that they've had could have easily been wins, but they've made mistakes to lose those games. Seahawks lost their number one running back, Rashard Penny. That's going to put more pressure on Geno Smith to make plays. This is why I think the Cardinals are going to be able to capitalize and, you know, take advantage of that. And they're going to win this week. Because Seahawks don't got no defense. I expect Kyler Murray to have one of those electrifying games that we've accustomed to seeing him have.
So let's jump into the next game because we got to talk about this game right here. I feel like this is a game that's going to really separate the weak from the strong, and we got to address it. The Carolina Panthers versus another Los Angeles team, the Los Angeles Rams. How y'all see that playing out?
The Rams should walk right through the Panthers, man. Panthers got all type of issues going on, man. They got quarterback issues. They got coaching issues. They got defensive issues. These motherfuckers got problems on top of problems, man. And the Rams can't beat them. The Rams need to pack it up, man.
Great point. That's a great point. It's funny, but it's a great point. What about you, Richie Rich?
Hey, man, Tom Ross couldn't have said it any better, man. If the Rams don't take care of business, and they should be able to cover that betting spread line easily because they have their third string quarterback. Baker Mayfield is not even suiting up in this game. They're throwing in PJ Walker. I don't know if you guys remember him. This dude used to play for the XFL.
Yep, but I remember him.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna Christian McCaffrey, he's banged up too. He got like a thigh issue with his thigh. We all know that affects you as a running back. The defense ain't good. The coach got fired earlier this week, so now they got an interim coach in place. They're just the overall terrible football team. So the Rams should walk away, with this game. If they don't win this game, then we know them boys were a bunch of vanilla ices.
Ice baby, huh? Vanilla ice. That's a good
Yeah.
one. So let's talk about New England Patriots versus the Cleveland Browns. That's the last one. What's you guys' breakdown on that game?
Cleveland. Where they playing at?
The game's at Cleveland.
That's gonna be a good. That's gonna be a good game. That's gonna be a good game. But Cleveland's. I got Cleveland in that game. Cleveland got the better defense, even though they both got decent defenses. Cleveland got the better defense. Cleveland got the better playing quarterback right now. Believe it or not, Jacoby Brissett is balling, and Cleveland could control the game with the run game. There's nothing they're gonna be able to do. Feeding Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they're gonna have it their way. And our play action should be wide open all fucking night, man.
What about you, Richie Rich?
I can see Cleveland winning this game, but it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be a nail biter because those Bill Belichick teams. The only reason why I'm choosing Cleveland is because Mac Jones, he's not gonna be playing. If he was gonna be playing, I'm going with the Patriots. It's because they got their third string, their backup quarterback. Well, not their third string because the second string guy is hurt too. So I think the Browns are gonna win it, but just because they have a good running game. You saw what the Patriots did last week to the Lions, but with the Lions case, the Lions were the highest, were the team that scored the most points in the game of football in a dome. But once they played in the outside element. That team couldn't do anything. So it was like more of like a environment shock when they went from playing to a dome, then having to play out in the field. That team couldn't function the same. I don't think that's going to be the case with the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, they're going to be able to run the ball with Chubb. Jacoby Brissett going to be able to make plays. Their defense is going to be able to get some pressure on that quarterback, Zappe. I think that's his name, that third stringer.
Yeah.
Now they got Myles Garrett back. So their line should be intact to get pressure on the quarterback. But it's going to be a close game. They're going to win, but it's going to be close.
Okay, you guys got a hellified breakdown this week. Bottom line is we're going to keep tally. And next week, we're going to reveal who's the winner between myself, Ross, and Richie Rich based on the teams that we pick. And every week, we're going to start off with who won the previous week. And then we go into the breakdowns. We're going to tell you who's the surprise attacks for the week. We're going to talk about, guys that, are not performing up to par. And we're basically going to break down every team from last week to this week, because as you guys know, with football, things are interchangeable. But we're also going to be looking for those dark horses, because as you guys know, with football, there's always dark horse teams that show up and show out from week 6 and on. It's always like that. So we're going to wait and see who they are, and we're going to wait and see who's going to basically use these games as a springboard to set themselves up for playoff positioning. And then by week 9, week 10, we should be able to give you guys a fair assessment on which teams are going to have their bye weeks and which team is basically going to be AFC or NFC wild cards, and which team are barely going to be squeaking in to the playoffs, and which team are just not going to cut the mustard, and who needs to be fired, whether it's a coach, whether it's a quarterback, or whether it's whatever position. This is what we love about fantasy football. There's no such thing as we're biased to someone because we like them. No, it's about what are you doing out there on the field, how you're performing, and how these players can benefit you guys' team and benefit your fantasy football team, and who you guys should start, who you guys should bench, who you guys should play, who you guys should sit. And that's what I like about fantasy football. It's the only thing left in football that is at its purest form. Everything else is just hearsay and nonsense. Richy Rich, Tom Ross, salute to you guys. You guys had a great breakdown on every team. And if you guys are taking notes and paying attention, it kind of set the tone for how you guys should make sure your rosters and your teams look the way they're supposed to from a fantasy football perspective. This has been a hellified live. It's been a great live. We're gonna see you guys again next week, Wednesday. Richy Rich, Tom Ross, any closing thoughts?
Nah, man, I said everything I gotta say, man. We'll see how the week transpire.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Richy
looking
Rich?
forward to how these games fare out. You know, so to see who's gonna get the bragging rights after week 6.
No, I mean it's obvious. I'm gonna be the one with the bragging rights. I'm the one that's gonna win out. So let's just make that very clear. By the
Hey,
time
you picked the Dolphins against the Vikings. Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, but this is gonna be one of those things where we, it's gonna be bragging rights, and then at the end, the winner gets a reward. The other two gonna have to chip in and give that person the reward for winning after week 16. So just make sure you, Richy Rich and Tom Ross, y'all saving up y'all chips to have my reward ready, because I'm gonna be the one to win this when it's all said and done. So let's just make that very clear.
All right,
And then you woke up.
Right. We'll see.
Yeah, man. So y'all take care. Y'all be easy. Everyone that participated, which we got great participation. It looks like this live is setting a tone for people that really needed help with their fantasy football teams. So again, if you guys need suggestions, you guys need to beef up your teams, in the comment section, let us know, and we're gonna tell you guys straight up, and we're gonna give you guys a breakdown every week on how you should see the landscape for football. Once again, this was a real live. Richy Rich, I appreciate you. Tom Ross, I appreciate you. Y'all take care. Y'all enjoy the rest of the Hump Day Wednesday. Be easy. Peace.
Peace.